Lesson 53 in Natural Phonics Primer, a Universal Safety Net for Literacy with Donald Potter. We're going to be doing the endings ER, and LE, ul. Now, in all of these, I want you to be noticing the doubling rule applies. The doubling rule says that when you have two consonants together, the first one will keep this vowel short. So you have better, and next you have bigger, and this applies to all of them. So I'm not going to be pointing that out as we go through, but I want you to notice it. Now this is very, very important for spelling, because you have to remember to double that consonant. You have to write it twice. If you write it once, it's not correct. So this is a spelling approach to learning to read. So it makes you a good speller and reader. And remember, a word you can spell, you'll always read faster than one that you cannot spell. So spelling leads to more fluent and better reading and better composition, because when you write, you don't have to be looking everything up in a dictionary or asking somebody or using a spell checker. All right, here we go. Number one, better. Doing a better job. Bigger. Getting bigger every day. Blacker. The sun went down and it got blacker. Clatter, which is just a lot of noise. Cobbler is a person who makes shoes. Cobbler. Oh, also a cobbler can be something that you eat. A cobbler, like apple cobbler. Then we have dinner. What's for dinner? Dipper. My dad said when he went to school they drank water out of a bucket with a dipper. Dresser. Put your clothes in the dresser. Drummer. The drummer could drum on a drum. Some people say Mr. Potter marches to a different drummer because that I insist on phonics. Farmer. My father was a farmer. Flicker. The light's going on and off. It's a flicker. Glimmer. I saw just a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. Hammer. Use a hammer to pound a nail. Helper. A helper I will be. Juggler is somebody who can juggle several things at the same time, like 3 balls. Jumper is a person who jumps, and a jumper is also, kids like them when they have a party. They get a jumper and everybody can go inside this little house like and jump. Then we have a ladder to get up on top of the house. Letter. Write a letter. Mr. Potter says look at all the letters the right way and no guessing. Peddler. That's an interesting one. Ped is the Greek word for foot. And peddler is somebody who goes around selling things, walks around selling things. Also, you have a pedal on a bicycle, so I suppose it could be a peddler. Next, we have pepper. Put pepper on your corn. Platter, like a plate, a platter. And boy, look at all these double consonants. I hope you're watching those. Printer. We can run off this page on a printer. Rocker. When a lot of times a baby likes to be rocked in a rocker. Rubber. Tires are made out of rubber. Balls are made out of rubber. Shopper. Somebody who goes shopping is a shopper. Slipper. You can wear a slipper in the house. Excuse me, I got that wrong. This is skipper. And this is slipper. There we go. I did not do that on purpose, but on the other hand, we teachers make mistakes too. And next one is snicker. When somebody kind of smiles, says, oh yeah, I bet they did that. Not really believe it. Trigger. For me, that's the name of a horse, but trigger also on a gun. You pull the trigger. Tumbler. Somebody that tumbles. You also have a little glass. It's a tumbler. Upper. You have bunk beds. You have a lower and the upper. And finally, winner is the person who wins the contest. Okay, so now we've done the we're going to do the LE. And the simplest way is just to view this as a silent E. And that L makes a separate syllable. The linguists tell us this is the schwa sound. It will be stuck in between the two consonants there. So like you have able. But if you just view it as an L, abe, and then make the L sound, it'll come out right. Able. Angle. This is mostly a spelling issue. Angle. Just remember to put the L and an E at the end. Ankle. Don't hurt your ankle. Apple. I like a nice juicy apple. Bangle. A bangle is a word you don't see very often, and it is actually a rigid bracelet or anklet. Let's just think of a bracelet. Next we have Bible. A Bible is a book that has a lot of information in it. There's the Christian Bible and there's other Bibles. Next we have bottle. A bottle of soft drink. Okay, next we have bottle, brittle. Something brittle is something that will break. Candle, light a candle. Cattle, some cows. Crackle, the sound, crackling sound. Cripple, someone who has trouble walking. Cuddle, to snuggle up. Drizzle, when it's raining, not a big rain, just a drizzle. Fiddle, play a fiddle, another word for violin. Fizzle, when you do a firework, you light it and it doesn't go off, or it just goes like that. That's a fizzle. Fumble, football players know what that one is. Don't drop the ball. Grumble, when people complain. Guzzle, that means to drink something, guzzle it down. Handle, like the handle on my empty coffee cup right here, the handle. We have hobble. Maybe you've never heard of that. You hobble an animal, you tie their legs together so they can't move. They can't get away. Humble, a humble person is a person who doesn't brag all the time about themselves. Humble. Jingle, jingle the bell. Jungle, out where the lions and tigers are. Kettle, you can heat things up cook things in a kettle. Ladle, a ladle is something you can put down in the kettle to stir it up. Little, the opposite of big. Little. Mangle, when something's mangled, it's all messed up. Meddle, don't meddle in other people's affairs. Don't meddle. Don't stick your nose in where it doesn't belong. Muddle. That's a word that's used a lot in England, and they actually talk about muddlement. When you muddle something is when you're confused. Needle. Use a needle to sew. Prattle is an interesting word. I actually had to look that up. It means to talk at length in a foolish or inconsequential way. When you prattle about something, you're talking nonsense. Next, you have a puzzle, and I know people that like to do 1,000-piece puzzles. A riddle. Riddle. Let's try a riddle. What kind of a band never plays music? What kind of band never plays music? The answer? Rubber band. There you go. That's a riddle. Saddle. The cowboy puts a saddle on his horse. And again, notice many of these words have the doubled consonant, which makes the vowel short. Settle. The settlers settled on the land. Sickle. Oh my, when I was a young man, my dad had a sickle. Use a sickle to cut weeds or wheat. It's a long curved knife that you can take to whack down the weeds. Simple, it's not complicated, it's simple. Single means just one. My dad used to sing a silly song called "I Wish I Was Single Again." Sizzle, that's the sizzle, the sound of a steak on a grill and it's going to sizzle. Snuggle, very similar to the word cuddle, snuggle up. Table, notice there's no doubling here. Table, so the A is going to be long. Pretty cool, huh? We eat at the table. The next one is tackle, like on a football team. And again, notice what we have. Tackle. Oh, we actually do have two consonants here. Anyway, that's going to be short. Whenever you have a CK, the vowel in front of it is always going to be short. Tangle. Get chewing gum in your hair and you really get it tangled. And last of all, uncle. I had lots of wonderful uncles and aunts. Okay, so there you go. Ending. The main thing to remember here is the doubling rule. So when we dictate the word and you spell it, you got to remember to put those two letters in there, two consonants.